Ladies and gentlemen, please notice that exits are conveniently located at the front and rear of this auditorium. When leaving the theater, we suggest that the exit at the front of the auditorium will allow you easier access to the parking areas. Thank you.
I got a 6-year-old in my calculus class in college. It's going to take my job.
What is this nonsense? Comic Sans? Butler had never seen this film, and I got the indication that he hated it.
She's like, you pussy, get back in the game.
He rebels against maturity by taking a job at a movie theater. Oh, no, I'm sorry, that's me. At a video store.
Well, this is now owned by Disney, so you're going to see a remake at some point. Hi, I'm Mike Butler.
And I'm Mike Field.
And you're listening to the Forgotten Cinema Podcast. Each episode, we highlight a film that, for a variety of reasons, was forgotten by audiences. Whether it be because a more popular movie was released at the same time, or the film simply didn't catch on with an audience in its initial run. We'll discuss what we love about the movie, or maybe don't love about it, but we'll always recommend you revisit it. You never know. You might find your own forgotten gem. If you enjoy our podcast, we want to hear from you. We're on Instagram and Facebook. Find us. Our podcast is available on all platforms with a backlog of over 175 episodes for your listening pleasure.
Hey, how you doing? This has hints of strawberry and blueberry. It's a seltzer. Oh, no, sorry. This isn't crack one open. How you doing?
Doing okay. How are you? How are you?
Doing well. As we record this, we just announced our ending. We kind of already talked about it earlier in other episodes.
That's right. We've been recording episodes for weeks knowing that it was ending. And
yes. It took us a while to kind of start the episodes up because Butler would be crying consistently. So
it was tough. It was tough to go there for a while.
All right. But who cares about that? Let's talk about a movie. And we are talking about what movie this week, Butler?
We are talking about State of Grace.
State of Grace. Go on.
The one with Sean Penn, because apparently there's a couple of State of Graces.
There is, and this story has been redone over and over again in various formats. It's kind of a very similar, what's the word I'm looking for? Plot? Not plot, but like similar story arc kind of thing.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Gone for a decade, Terry Noonan is welcomed back into the fold in his Irish-American neighborhood in New York City. Hell's Kitchen, basically. A one-time street tough, Terry is street tough. Terry is now an undercover officer targeting crime boss Frankie Flannery, In the name of duty, Terry rekindles his doormat friendship with Frankie's younger brother, Jackie. But as Terry gets closer to his goal, his feelings for the youngest Flannery, his old flame, Kathleen, complicate his mission. Whatever. I'm not really in love with that synopsis, but it does kind of give it. Yeah. So State of Grace has a runtime of 134 minutes. Rated R, production budget of $18 million. Came out on Friday, September 14th, 1990. That was a limited release date. So it was only in 14 theaters. It didn't really get much bigger than that. So, because usually sometimes I'll do the wide release date if there was a limited, if the wide release was like a ton of theaters, but a ton of screens, but this was not. So its opening weekend, it only did $180,000. Domestic, 1.9 million, and there's no international, so worldwide was also 1.9 million. So obviously not a hit. And we'll get to one of the big reasons why when we get to other movies came out that year, around that time. Production company was Cinehas, Orion Pictures, and the Rank organization, and it was distributed by Orion. I wonder if people remember Orion.
I think Orion is coming back.
Is it?
Yeah, I think it's back doing some stuff. Well, I don't know if it's back or they just bought the name and the logo.
But I mean, I always remember the logo and all that stuff. And the star. Yeah.
A ton of movies from the early 90s. Yeah. I'll always remember that as the beginning of RoboCop. RoboCop is like probably their biggest
there you go.
pop culture hit, at least.
Right. So it said that came out on the September 14th, 1990. It went up against in a wide release Death Warrant, the Jean-Claude Van Damme film. Postcards from the Edge, which is the Carrie Fisher. Didn't she write that? Isn't that based on her life?
Oh, I don't know.
I believe so. Hardware, and in a limited release, Repossessed, White Hunter, Black Heart. The week after, the 19th, which is a Wednesday, is the reason why probably this movie didn't do as much business as it would, because in a wide release, you had a little movie called Goodfellas.
Yeah.
And Goodfellas obviously has very similar traits to State of Grace, just in terms of, being about the mob and whatnot.
Yep.
So, and obviously Goodfellas is fantastic. So it blew it out of the water, I think. Didn't have a shot. And that's probably kind of a sneak peek on why we think it's forgotten. One of the reasons, but there you go. So then the 21st, the week after that Friday, you had a wide release of Funny About Love and Narrow Margin. That's with Gene Hackman. And then a limited release, Miller's Crossing, which we are doing in a couple weeks, which I love that movie. So hopefully I continue to love it when we watch it in a couple weeks. The 7th of September, which is the week before, you had just one movie. It was a limited release of Slumber Party Massacre 3.
Ooh.
So more slumber parties, more killing. This one, State of Grace, was directed by Phil Joannou, who's done 3 O'Clock High. That was a film we did. Gridiron Gang and Heaven's Prisoners. It was written by Dennis McIntyre, who really is just a playwright. I shouldn't say just a playwright. He is a playwright who, this is probably the only film he wrote.
Okay.
But he's primarily for the stage. Cinematographer was Jordan Cronenweth, excuse me. He was nominated for an Oscar for Peggy Sue Got Married. He's also done Blade Runner and Altered States. Composer was Ennio Morricone. I hope people know who Ennio Morricone is. He's very, very, very famous composer. He won an Oscar for The Hateful Eight. He also was nominated for Milena, Bugsy, The Untouchables, The Mission, and Days of Heaven. Those are all Oscar nods. And if you've seen The Untouchables, you know how awesome the music is in Untouchables. I cannot believe it did not win. I just didn't even go look back and see what won that year.
Won instead.
But you actually hear notes, I think, of Untouchables in this score at times. Or maybe I just hear the same, like maybe similar beats. I'm like, oh, that seems like Untouchables. This one was edited by Claire Simpson, nominated for an Oscar for Platoon. Won an Oscar for Platoon, nominated for an Oscar for The Constant Gardener, and also most recently did The Last Duel. And then produced by Ned Dowd, Randy Ostro, and Ron Rolthos. Dowd has done The 13th Warrior, Shanghai Noon. Ostro has done Basquiat and The Mudge Boy. And then Ron Rolthos has done Canadian Bacon and Belly. Do you remember Belly?
No.
Yeah, it's a weird movie. This movie, as Butler said, has Sean Penn. He plays Terry. He has won 2 Oscars, one for Milk and the other for Mystic River. He's also been nominated for 3 other Oscars, I Am Sam, Sweet and Lowdown, and Dead Man Walking. Ed Harris plays Frankie. He was nominated for 4 Oscars. I think we've already played this game before. He's Apollo 13, The Truman Show, Pollock, and Hours.
Yeah, we played this game like a couple weeks ago.
We did. Gary Oldman as Jackie. He's the brother of Frankie and best friend to Terry. He won an Oscar for Darkest Hour. He was nominated for Mank and Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy, a movie that we have covered. Mm-hmm. Robin Wright plays Kathleen, Terry's love interest, and Jackie and Frankie's sister. She's in Forrest Gump, The Princess Bride, Unbreakable, and the TV show House of Cards. John Turturro as Nick. This might be our first John Turturro film. I'm not sure though.
Yeah,
he's in Quiz Show, Oh Brother Where Art Thou, The Big Lebowski, and he is Mr. Monk's brother in the TV show.
Oh,
Monk.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, well, it was on the other day, so I was watching it. John C. Reilly as Stevie. He was nominated for an Oscar for Chicago. He also is in Boogie Nights, Magnolia, and the TV show Winning Time. That's the one about the Lakers on HBO Max. Joe Fitarelli as Borelli. He's from Analyze This and Analyze That and Bullets Over Broadway. Burgess Meredith as Finn, a little small role for Burgess Meredith. He's nominated for 2 Oscars, one for Rocky and The Day of the Locust. He's also in Burnt Offering, which is a movie that we did, and Grumpy Old Men. And finally, R.D. Call as Nicholson, who is kind of Frankie's strongman, not strongman, a right-hand man who does his dirty work.
Yeah.
In Waterworld, Colors, and Last Man Standing. Awesome. So, Butler had never seen this film, and I got the indication that he hated it. So we're going to get right into it, Butler. What didn't you like about this film? Give me your first impressions. I shouldn't just have you go right into it like that.
Yeah, I was not a fan of this movie.
Okay.
I thought everything about it was kind of, you don't care about the characters. And I get that they're all bad, but Goodfellas is great. Godfather is great. Sopranos is great. You can have movies filled with antagonists and have it be a good movie. And I just did not give a crap about any character. I also thought the storyline itself was incredibly just overdone to the point of just like, even in 1990, it's like, how many times you gotta watch?
You know where I'm going with this. You know what my first question is going to be.
But I really don't think.
Well, I'm not saying it's. I'm not going to ask you if this is the first time they did this type of storyline, but right. I'm going to ask you, can you give me something that came before it? That's all.
Not off the top of my head.
That's fine. Yeah. And I know I put you on the spot there, so that's not fair. But yes, okay, go ahead. Continue.
So I mean, you have the storyline. I don't believe for a second that Terry and Jackie are really great friends. They just constantly bicker and fight. Like, okay, maybe they used to be friends, but it's like they have these moments where all of a sudden they become real good pals and they fight again, or they're just sad again, or right. It just didn't make sense. I didn't get the connection that they were ever like, oh, Jackie, no, I got to protect Jackie. Why do you got to protect Jackie? Jackie's insane. Jackie should have no friends. Jackie is a loose cannon. I will say one shining point in this movie is Gary Oldman as Jackie. I mean, he's super unhinged. He plays him really well. Mm-hmm. But I just didn't believe it. And overall, I just really don't like Sean Penn. So having him as a person, he's a scumbag from what I've heard. And then as an actor, I'm not a huge Sean Penn guy.
Okay.
I think he's gotten better as he's gotten older. But younger Sean Penn is just kind of like, he's all right. But I think he does a lot of roles like this back in the early 90s. So it's just kind of like, all right, he's the generic, your protagonist who's okay. Jackie really just, any scene that he's in with Jackie is just stealing the show. And the love interest, the love things.
You're saying Jackie's stealing the show.
Jackie's stealing the show.
Okay,
any scene he's in. And then Kathleen and Terry's relationship is just, I don't really buy that either.
Okay.
They don't really seem to like one another. But again, they're childhood friends who grew up. But I never really bought into that.
Okay. Interesting. Where do I go? I actually do like this film. I understand your notes on it. I mean, I can't, not that I really want to defend the film because I don't, but I understand your notes. But I still like this film. I like this film for a lot of reasons. I think I like this film for the atmosphere of it as probably a big Gary Oldman's performance is really good. I actually like Ed Harris's performance as Frankie, and I'll get into it a little bit why I like it. But back to what I was saying before, the look of the film, the atmosphere of the film, it's dirty. I love the ending of the film. I love that shootout. The music I like quite a bit just because I told you, there's hints of Untouchables. I could definitely hear that music there. So let me go to the acting since that was your big thing. I do not have a problem with Sean Penn as an actor. I honestly can't sit here and tell you, I don't really keep track of, I know that, he had some issues in terms of domestic violence with Madonna, I think, or something like that. But I don't really keep up with that. So this isn't an indication of my feelings towards him as a person, but in terms of his acting, I actually like Sean Penn. He's a definitely, as an actor, he's definitely an acquired taste. I think. I don't think he fits into a mold of a type of actor.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, as he's gotten older, there's some stuff he's really good. Like Mystic River, he's awesome in. But yeah, I think his younger years, he just plays a lot of this stuff. That's all I was saying. No,
I understand that. And I think that with Gary Oldman's performance as Jackie, he's good, but he's a secondary character. He's not, we always talk about sometimes these secondary roles are able to choose scenery because they're able to go off and do whatever they need to do.
The protagonist has to move the story along.
Right. Exactly. I'm not saying Sean Penn's like the straight man in this, but he does have to, like you say, move the story along. So Gary Oldman is allowed to be the way he is.
It's like very much like Jeremy Renner in The Town.
Right. But see, there's a lot of times where Oldman is completely out of control. And not that I was just kind of like, oh my, I wasn't enthralled by it. Like, I know that Leonardo DiCaprio really loves his performance in this.
Right.
He talked about how it was, it was a site of inspiration and influenced an entire generation of actors, apparently. It's the first time I've ever heard that, but that's fine. But I wasn't. I was just like, okay, because there's moments where he's just out of control.
He goes a little too far at times.
And I'm like, this doesn't seem like a normal person. Like, I need to have some kind of basis in reality for his performance. He just seems like he's a little wild. Whatever, regardless, that's fine. But Ed Harris's character, Frankie, it's like, I don't know if this is on purpose in the movie of Frankie's character, or if this is something that just kind of, it is what it is because it's the way the story went along. But Frankie's not a good boss. He's a weak boss.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean? He's somebody who, he's not loyal. He's flawed. He kills Stevie just to appease an outsider because he wants to make this deal with the Italian boss. Yeah. He doesn't take into, he kills Stevie, and he doesn't take into account that Stevie and Jackie are close, that Jackie, who he should already know is unhinged,
is going to fly off the handle.
Right. So, and I don't know if that's on purpose or not. Let's, for the benefit of the doubt, it is on purpose. I actually like the fact that we have a character that is not a good, he's a bad guy. He's just not, he's not a good judge of, the room. You know what I mean? He can't, he's not a good boss.
Well, even before when Stevie's fighting with, who the hell is he fighting?
Oh, the guy that the two Italian guys that are looking to shake him down for AK.
Guy's name.
Who cares? Yeah. They're just two throwaway.
Oh, but when they're fighting in the bar too. And then Frank's like, get out, get out, get out.
Oh, when they're beating up the old guy because they want him to buy the Bushmills.
Yeah. So then they go to when they're in the alley and Frankie's talking about, you can't do this. We got a deal going on. And everyone's just talking back to him.
Yeah.
And he's just like, I've never seen in a mob movie somebody get like talked down to like that by their own crew.
Well, yeah. Like, and
so you're right. Yeah. He is a bad boss.
And then you see his right-hand man, which is Nicholson, played by R.D. Call. And you see him. And I think that maybe this goes to what we were talking about in terms of like we have seen other movies and other shows before.
Mm-hmm.
When you have shows and movies that kind of deal with the subject matter, the boss isn't just, he doesn't know what he's doing. He's screwing up the gang.
Right.
There's always his second-hand man is always the one that turns on him almost. Is always the one that
takes his place.
Like they won't make a move on the boss unless they can get, his muscle behind them.
Oh, right.
And you never get that sense. And it's like if Nicholson, this character Nicholson, is kind of like the smart one or knows what he's doing, how does he not notice that Frankie is basically selling out his crew to make some money to retire, I guess, to Jersey with his wife? And that's the other thing. You meet his wife real quickly.
Right.
But you don't get her. You don't get enough of her. You don't really get enough of like why he's doing what he does, Frankie. And you like to think, I'm guessing maybe it's because his wife's telling him I want you out, or, why he's making this deal, what this deal is going to do. You get
sick of living in Hell's Kitchen, maybe. Who knows?
Yeah, but that's the thing. So I'm like I said, I'm giving it the benefit of the doubt that Frankie is purposely written this way. And I like that. If he's not written this way, then that's a different conversation.
I think he is, because he's even kind of weak in the dinner with Borelli. He's like, I got to make a call. Well, have dessert. You're going to have dessert. And he's like,
eat
he's
that cannoli.
very small.
Yeah.
It's the first time I've ever seen Ed Harris kind of get talked down to in a movie.
Yeah. Yeah. And let's go to that scene when he's having the luncheon with Pirelli. Mm-hmm. And one of my notes is Pirelli's telling him basically. So what ends up happening in the story, and if people have seen this, they already know, is that Frankie kills Stevie and blames it on the Italians. Or he says, I don't know what happened. It could have been them. Jackie assumes.
He basically doesn't say who it is.
But Jackie assumes that it's the two guys that Stevie had the beef with for the 8K. And then so Jackie just kills them in a restaurant because they try to make peace with him. He's like, fuck it. And he shoots him and he kills him. And then so Frankie has a meeting with Pirelli to discuss this. And Pirelli's telling him, you need to, take care of Jackie.
Yeah, kill your own brother.
Right.
Or my guys are chomping.
That's the thing too. It's like, does Pirelli understand that that's a big ask? Or does he not respect Frankie enough to be like, kill your own brother? I don't care.
I think he respects him enough to say, you kill your brother your way, or we're going to do it probably. He killed 3 of our guys. He's going to get tortured to death. Right. I think that's what he means by our guys chomping at the bit to do it themselves.
Yeah.
He's going to die poorly, or you can make it quick and clean. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. You can Fredo him, or we can wood chipper him, basically.
But then, like, they leave the dinner, and because Frankie has this whole thing, like, if you don't hear from me by 2, come in and shoot everybody.
If I don't call you, come in and kill them all.
And then he leaves, and they're about ready to come down and shoot them all up. He comes out, and he hugs Pirelli. He says, "Oh, it's okay." But they see them coming.
Oh yeah, Borelli's even like, you gonna start a war?
Yeah. At that point, it's like, is this relationship even beneficial for Pirelli to take on with Frankie and the family?
We don't see it later on, and obviously, spoilers for the rest of the movie. Terry kind of takes out most of Frankie's crew and himself, but it's like, I don't see, even if Terry didn't come back and blow them all away, I don't see Borelli and Frankie having a great. I can see Borelli as soon as he gets a chance. Wipe him out. Why do I deal with these people?
I understand why Frankie wants to make this deal with the Italian mob because there's money in it. Why does the Italian mob want to make this deal with him?
I don't understand the entire
If they can just completely destroy this gang, why not just do it?
Yeah. A war, you'd never win. We'd wipe you out, no problem. It's like, then do it.
Yeah, then do it. Yeah, yeah. Just do it. Just go ahead and do it. And to kind of go to the ending, did you like the ending of the movie in terms of just the action set piece itself?
It was okay.
Right.
I do like the last shot with Ed Harris gets shot.
Right.
That was
when he's walking down the bar as the stuff blowing up, or just that shot of Ed
just
Harris?
That when he gets shot and you see the bullet hit his head and the squib at the same time. The way it's shot, like obviously the bullet wound's already there, but the way they shoot it almost looks like it's a squib in the front and then the squib in the back happens. And I was like, oh man, that's really cool. The shootout itself was okay. They don't shy away from bullet wounds actually tearing apart stuff, which is cool. So I liked the violence in that way. Well,
it is bloody.
Although they shy away from Stevie getting cut.
What's funny? You're talking about the throat slash.
Yeah.
I kind of think that because going off of, I just watched Halloween Ends and they do that there. and I just watched, what was the movie I just watched where they're cutting throats left and
Sweeney
right?
Todd?
Yeah. I think that I want to guess that the effects weren't there yet for that part. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like they just didn't have that, the good prosthetics to cut the neck kind of thing. That's
Maybe.
what I think. But who knows? But the ending of the film, my question to you, does Terry die? Because you don't really see him die.
No, I don't think he dies because his wounds aren't like anywhere really fatal.
Yeah.
He gets shot like in the shoulder and he gets grazed in the side or something.
He gets hit he gets hit 3 times. He gets hit in the leg,
The leg
gets hit in his shoulder, and then he or arm, and then he gets hit in his side of his stomach. Yeah, as he's walking around trying to shoot Frankie.
So I don't think so. And you never really see him like that in distress. He's just kind of like,
He just sits there, and then it ends on him, and then that's it.
so I don't think he dies.
Okay, yeah. So,
Plus, no one's not hearing that gunshot.
well,
at some
the
point.
parade's going on.
Yeah.
Well, although the parade's not even at their street, the parade is somewhere else. That's like that bar when he walks to the bar in the daytime, and that might have been the first time I noticed it at the end of the film. But when he walks to the bar in the daytime, it's like there's no sign. It looks like the most nondescript building, like nobody goes there, and it's like just like barns. I'm like, geez, all right,
It's a mob bar.
I mean, and Jackie talks about in the beginning how they can pretty much do whatever they want. Cops don't care. They've got the cops on the payroll.
They say that to make it so that all the ridiculous stuff. Like Jackie, it's like, I'm pretty sure it's close to Times Square where he wipes out those guys, the 3 mob guys, and he just walks out down the street.
Oh, right.
And goes into, almost gets by a taxi, walks into his car and just drives away. Super calm. The bar has got people in it. It wasn't an empty bar.
That's definitely downtown.
Oh, so this is not the Wild West, man.
Yeah.
If you're going to try to tell me, you're trying to make this like a realistic depiction of the mob, I don't buy that. I don't buy all the public violence that happens in the film.
Okay. Well, it is the late 80s, early 90s.
It's still a little like, come on.
Sure.
It's very New Jack City then. It's like not the real version of the city.
Now, did you see that the original cut of the film was 3 hours?
I did.
And so like
I was so glad.
They cut a bunch of scenes, including a subplot where Frankie and Jackie are killing Irish mob bosses together, so to see how Frankie becomes the power, I would assume.
It would. I read that note, and it would have to be how they came to power. You would think it would have to be flashbacks, right?
I don't know. Yes, but I also have a note where I would have liked to have seen Terry, what kind of cop Terry was in Boston.
I thought the same thing. You don't see any of that.
You don't get an idea of the type of cop Terry is or the type of person Terry is at all. Like I know that he comes down to, you meet him the first time, you think he's just back home. They have this whole setup where he shoots these drug dealers, but they're really cops, and it's trying to get the word out.
Terry gives him the fake gun, but it's so obvious.
Right. But he comes back and it's like, you meet him, but I don't have any basis to understand how he is sacrificing who he is or how he is conflicted the way he is, because I don't know what he is like, what kind of life he had, like with the turnaround in his career and his life.
Exactly. You know what he was maybe when he was, working, well, not working, but hanging out with Jackie.
Right.
And then you know what he's like again now.
Yeah.
So it's basically you were kind of always a thug.
And you don't get anything in terms his relationship with Kathleen. They're obviously he was her first love, not just her first, but her first love. Mm-hmm. There's obviously a connection that they do get back together, but then she talks about how, there's this whole thing where like they get back together and then she completely leaves him and
she doesn't want anything to do with him, either because he's a cop or because he killed the 2 guys.
I think
Frankie,
it's the whole life. I think it's the whole thing. She just wants to get out of life. But then my point is then why do you still live in the city? If you're looking to get away from all this, why did you still live in the city?
Oh, Frankie's got pretty controlling.
Oh, please. She could leave. If she got a job somewhere else, she could just leave and say, like, I've got work.
Transfer hotels.
Yeah. I mean, come on. Exactly. She's in the hotel concierge business. You can go to another hotel.
Yep.
So that kind of thing. And maybe why I'm saying this because they never really go into that. There's really no understanding why Kathleen is still here.
No. Just so that she can have those conversations with Frankie and have a love interest in the film, which she's not needed.
Oh, for Terry?
Yeah. Like, I really don't feel like her character is needed. It's just an added thing in the story to make it more dramatic. But I feel like if you take her stuff out, you can have more stuff with Jackie and Terry, maybe being actual friends, or Jackie and Frankie actually being brothers. Because Frankie's so conflicted about killing, Jackie at some point, but it's like, your brother's a crazy, crazy guy. He's basically a real life version of the Joker. You gotta, how are you not taking him out? Mm-hmm. It's like, well, then you gotta actually kind of love him. Like even in The Godfather with Fredo, you get stuff between Michael and Fredo where they're brothers they don't always just argue. And Fredo's also not as crazy as Jackie, but I just don't buy Frankie's hesitation being a mob boss murderer to not murder Jackie.
Well, it's his brother, though.
No.
I mean, that's that. But again, like you say, we need to see that brotherly bond, that connection. We need to see that family connection all total. I mean, this would I think a lot of the stuff that we're asking for is probably a longer form medium. This is probably something that would, maybe this kind of story would work well in a long form, 6 episodes, 8 episodes, that kind of thing.
I think that's why a lot of the cop shows are.
Yeah, because you said, but there's a lot of layers to these characters. You have a lot of interesting characters in this movie. You know, Frankie, Jackie, Kathleen, Terry. Yeah, those are all 4 interesting characters that could be leads in their own movie. Like, you could rewrite this film 4 different ways and each person could be the lead. Even Jackie, even though he's unhinged, you know what I mean? So they have solid potential for a good character arc.
Sure, yeah.
We just don't get that a lot of it. We have to kind of fill in some of the blanks. And, you know, I think that maybe the 3-hour cut kind of did that a little bit, but I didn't have any note that said like, oh, we were forced to cut. I couldn't, no one was unhappy with the way it was. But
that's why, like, hey, this is 3 hours. No one will want to watch this.
I just don't understand. And this is not just State of Grace. This is a lot of movies. I don't understand when you write a film, you do the film, and you come, I have a 3-hour cut, and then you're forced to cut. It's like, are you saying that you couldn't tell your story in 90 minutes or 100 minutes? And if your story that you're trying to tell has to be 180 minutes, then you shouldn't.
It's too long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then your story is something else. I don't understand the idea of you've got 100 pages or you've got 120 pages and somehow that balloons to 3 hours. You know what I mean? Just for an example, if you have 120 pages, your movie should be around 2 hours, give or take 10 minutes.
Sure.
I don't understand why you would deviate from that and add a 30-minute subplot that wasn't in there. Maybe there's just rewriting going on. I don't know, but that's
they added that, and it was already a 180-minute screenplay, and they were just like,
right.
You gonna cut it? No. All right, we're gonna have you cut it when you're done. Then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know.
Obviously, that balloons the budget. Not like this movie made any money.
Did you notice the restaurant that they used? That they also used in The Sopranos.
It was The Sopranos. It was the first thing I saw. I was like, "That's a Sopranos restaurant." And then when I was looking at the notes, I was like, "It was."
That's the restaurant that they use for the sit downs when they go meet New York.
Yep.
So I was just like, "Oh yeah, there it is." I was like, "Oh, it's good to see it. Good to see it. Good to see it." What else did you like in this film? Because did you touch on all your negatives?
I mean, they're pretty big negatives. I liked seeing Burgess Meredith. I liked his character. I liked his thing, the shaking down the old man.
This is before Grumpy Old Men, right?
Yeah.
Because in Grumpy Old Men, he seems spry. Like you know what I mean?
He's definitely playing him to be a little more like, this is before Rocky IV as well.
You're right.
So he's definitely playing him a little bit more meek and meager. But I like that. I liked the scene where, Terry's got to go. Obviously, they're going to go. Terry and Jackie basically are going to go shake people down for the money that they owe. Jackie goes to get this crazy guy, and I guess Terry's got this old guy he's got to find. And he opens the door. It's Burgess Meredith, and he's really frail, eating tomatoes out of a can, and so Terry doesn't want to shake him down. But Finn, who's the name of Burgess Meredith,
I'm eating stewed tomatoes.
Yeah, stewed tomato. That's what it keeps.
I'm eating stewed. And by the way, Butler, before anyone, because I know someone's going to come at us. Rocky IV was 85. This is after Rocky IV.
Rocky IV was 85?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
So just before anyone comes yelling at us, Rocky IV was
85. Oh, I meant Rocky V anyway.
Okay.
But yes. Okay. So I liked his character. I liked that he saw stuff, but he didn't really want to testify. Obviously, I think I see things, and he's just kind of very vague about it.
Mm-hmm.
So you saw Frank take out of the alley, and he doesn't say anything. I like that it didn't turn into another subplot. It's like we didn't need that.
Right.
I was like, don't bring him into it. I like that he was just a little cameo.
Mm-hmm.
So I did like that bit of it. Yeah, like you said, I also like the grittiness of it.
Mm-hmm.
I like the look of it. I don't know if they shot in New York or not for all of it.
Oh yeah, no, they did.
They did.
That's all the city. You could tell.
They shot in places in the city that you don't. Obviously, there's some scenes like obviously the sit down Italian restaurant. Some of that's like downtown.
Yep.
But a lot of it's in Hell's Kitchen or at the piers or at the docks, and it's just this dirty, grimy area that you don't see. I like when Stevie gets in the fight at the beginning, that they got Terry and Jackie have to break up.
Yep.
That it's just like in the middle of traffic. That it's just like, hey, we pulled these cars over. It's right by the pier. I thought that was really cool.
Or when they find Stevie's body and Terry and Jackie are walking, and then Terry goes to Kathleen. That's like all one shot. Jackie goes away, and then Jackie comes up in the car and drives up, and that actually has one of my favorite pieces of dialogue back and forth when Terry and Jackie's telling Terry, he's like, I have to drive to Queens. I hate driving to Queens. And Terry's like, do you want me to drive? He's like, nah, then I have to look out the window. Yeah. I thought that was a great line.
So that's pretty much what I liked. I mean, like I said, most of the movie was so generic and rote and just like I'd seen it all before, and I really didn't. The characters were so unlikable. So the look was good. Some of the action was good. Ed Harris getting shot was cool. But yeah, there's also some stupid, like I hate when Terry gives Frankie his badge. You think you're so smart? You think you're so smart here?
Oh, right.
What?
Well, yeah, I don't know what the plan is there. I don't know what Terry's plan is there. They're trying to hunt Terry down. And then he just shows up at the bar.
Oh no! First he shows up at Kathleen's apartment.
Right.
It's like, so you're gonna lead him right? Of course you've been into his sister. Of course he's gonna stake out that place. I was like, come on.
And like he stands in front of the bar, across the street, putting the guns in his pocket. I'm like, no one's looking out. Yeah. No one's like, hey, man, I think that's Terry. I will say that the scene when the scene when Kathleen goes to Terry's apartment to tell him off, say that's it, it's over. I actually thought Robin Wright was really good in that scene when she's yelling at him.
Of course I see a psychiatrist.
Yeah. I thought that scene's really good. I mean, she has moments, she has scenes in this movie that she's really good. They've got good pieces of dialogue between her and Terry.
There's a good piece of dialogue, her and Frank.
Right.
There's a good line there when they're at the hotel bar and he's saying like, why are you being so
cold?
So cold. And she's like, that's what all guys always say when they're trying to be controlling and they don't get their way. Why are you being so cold? I like that.
And they go back to that, which I like later, is when Terry goes back to go see Kathleen one last time. And she's like, you can just like, he's talking to her and she doesn't care. She's like, I have a date. I have to leave. And then she's like, you just lock yourself, leave, just make sure you lock the door on your way out. And she leaves and he says, you're so cold. You're so cold. And she doesn't respond. Yeah. But like, so I like that comes back around. So I hesitate to say, because we always talk about how, female characters aren't written well, and especially in the 90s.
Yeah.
But I do think there's a lot of stuff going on in her scenes in terms of the totality of her character. Maybe not so much. It's not her story, but still not so much. But I do think that the scenes she has, they're good. They're really good.
She speaks strongly, even though her character, for some reason, like you had mentioned, seems to be stuck in this life for no reason, because you would think she could just go off and move away. But what she says and what she speaks and stands up to all these people in her life, these men in her life, where she has really powerful dialogue.
Right.
Or strong dialogue. Did you know that the word fuck and its variations are used 210 times in this movie, which is approximately 1.6 times every minute?
I didn't think they said it that much. To be honest with you, I mean, I don't know. I mean, maybe because I've just heard it a lot.
I think Jackie's so unhinged that you just didn't care anymore.
He's just screaming half the time.
Jackie just says fuck like every 5 seconds.
Yeah.
That's all he says.
He's just, yeah.
And then Stevie as well, when Stevie was alive. R.I.P. Stevie.
Young
serious actor John C. Reilly.
He's still serious. He just has to do serious roles.
Well, I know that he didn't start trying to be like a comedian. He just ended up getting buddied with.
Well, he just likes that. That's fine. Likes to have fun. But he's, Magnolia. He's not
true. Yeah.
He's really good in that. He's not. He's playing somebody who's having I don't want to say he's having a crisis, but he's depressed.
Yeah.
Yeah. So did you see that? Would you have liked this if Bill Pullman played the Frankie character? Because he was cast. And he did it, but he wasn't working out.
I saw that they had to end up replacing him.
Well, they originally wanted Ed Harris, but he couldn't accept the role initially because he was injured from the Abyss. He is recovering from injuries from the Abyss. So then Bill Pullman did it, but I guess it wasn't working out. And we have this discussion about Bill Pullman on the episode we did for The Last Seduction, where I don't take him as that kind of actor, that kind of serious threat actor. You know what I mean? And so when this comes around. I'm like, okay, I get that note, but
I think that's why.
Yes, but let me just not correct that original note, but also bring it up. I have watched the first season of The Sinner, and Bill Pullman's in that.
Cop, right?
He's the cop who's troubled. He's a troubled cop, and he's really good in that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm gonna walk back what I said, but because you never see it.
He's really good in Torchwood too.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yep. So no, but anyways, maybe Bill Pullman back then didn't work. I don't know, maybe they were looking for something else. I just don't picture Ed Harris as an Irish gangster.
You mean Bill Pullman?
No. Even Ed Harris as well.
Oh,
I love Ed Harris. I just don't know if this role was perfect for him.
He always comes off as very much a military or a more well-made, well-educated kind of guy. So I don't believe in him as a street tough, even as the head of the family. I just don't see that.
You think he'd be more scarred? I don't know. I'm not saying more scarred, but like an old. You know what's funny is like Sean Penn in Mystic River would be good as I
could see that.
Yeah.
But yeah, Ed Harris I thought was a weird choice, but I guess he's also a mob boss in History of Violence.
Yeah, but the History of Violence, you ever seen History of Violence?
No, it's on the list. I should have put it on.
I should have. You know what? I should have too, because in History of Violence, he's got a huge scar. And he's like all messed up. His eyes messed up, and he definitely comes off as he's definitely that character.
I know that movie bothers Elise a lot.
Why?
I want to watch it because she said it was just too violent, and she watches all types of movies. She said there was something about that movie.
No, that movie.
She'd always wanted me to see it.
That movie's awesome.
She said there was something about that movie where the violence actually bothered her. And I was like, oh, now I really want to see it.
That's a good movie. It's a good movie.
She didn't say it was bad. She just said like it was the first one that bothered me.
So how about this note that I have? This has nothing to do with the film. But like, it's just like, I want to be like Hollywood. Phil Joannou introduces, this is director, his then girlfriend, Uma Thurman, to Gary Oldman on the set. And so like, oh, this is my girlfriend, Uma Thurman. Oh, okay, cool. Then shortly after the film premiered, Thurman and Oldman were married. Like, how did that happen?
Wasn't it that she was at the, oh no, I thought it was that she was at the premiere.
No, so they're shooting the movie. Hey, this is my girlfriend. Oh, how you doing?
Yep.
Flash forward maybe a year later, Thurman and Oldman are getting married. Then they get divorced like 18 months after that, 13 months after that. But I'm just like, man, like, how was that premiere? Like, I know they don't do the red carpet as much back then. Like now it's a big show. That people get paid to be on the red carpet and all that nonsense. But back then, like, we're going to premiere the movie. Oh, I'm going to bring my wife. Oh, great.
Yeah. Gary, you're not going to sit with us at our table at the dinner.
Just odd. Did you see the alternate titles for this film?
Yeah, I don't remember what they were.
Hell's Kitchen.
That's right.
And Westies. So this movie is inspired by a real life Hell's Kitchen gang called the Westies, and several incidents in the film are based on testimony given by captured mobsters.
The hand thing.
So the dead man, the hand sequence where they put have hands in the freezer that
the rooftop.
They use them to when they use guns, they put those fingerprints on the guns and then leave the guns, and then people would think that dead man did it. But it's like the way Jackie described it is like you shoot the guy, come back, put the hands on the gun, walk back, and then drop the gun. The way he was describing it, but I think what he meant to say is you take the gun, you put the fingerprints, the severed hand fingerprints on the gun, use the gun with gloves, and then leave the gun there.
Yeah.
So there's that scene. And also, I guess, the meeting in the restaurant, the sit down. It's like, really? I mean, like, that's a stupid note. Like a sit down? No kidding. There's sit downs all the time.
They sat down and discussed business.
Yeah.
Well, okay.
We're putting that in.
That's a good idea.
This is also one of the most remade movies in Indian film history. Apparently.
I saw like 5 times or something.
Yeah. I don't know when that note was put down there because I want to say there's probably been others, but what are you going to do?
Or are they just saying a guy undercover goes undercover too far?
Probably. Yeah, that sounds familiar.
It's like, I'm sorry. Not only has that been redone in India, then that has been redone in America 5 billion times.
So I don't have any critic reviews for you. Sorry, I know I usually do.
Aww.
So why don't we skip to why we think it's forgotten? But let's just put it on the table because of Goodfellas.
It's Goodfellas.
Okay, but let's give another reason why we think it's forgotten.
It's not good. It's generic. It's not interesting. It doesn't hold my attention. it's definitely not a film that if you're gonna list your 5 best cop or mob mob movies, I don't think this is gonna be even on your list, even though you chose this movie now. Would it?
Top 5 mob movies?
Top 5 mob or crime movies.
Movies or TV shows or just movies?
Just movies.
Well, I'm going to go, obviously, Godfather, Goodfellas. I don't even know. Give me other mob movies.
I don't know.
Like there's so many different mob movies.
You had like a list, though. Like I
mean, Eastern Promises is really good.
Eastern Promises, Departed.
I know everyone hates the rat at the end. Yeah, it's on the nose, but that doesn't destroy the rest of the film. I mean, for God's sakes, one shot. I love Air Force One, and I can't stand the shot when the woman that's going to be Postmaster General is smiling, coming down on the parachute. I don't destroy the movie because of that. God, everyone's such a perfectionist.
Donnie Brasco.
Donnie Brasco's a great film. No, I wouldn't but okay, no, I would not. But still, I still like this film. I still think there's a lot of stuff in this film that I enjoy.
Oh, sure, but just like if someone's like, hey, give me some films I got to watch. Like we always talk about, like one of the reasons we do put a lot of these films on the list is because we think that people that are, younger should watch them.
I think this is worthy of a suggestion for somebody like that.
I think it's worthy of a suggestion, but I think if people are suggesting, this is definitely going to be lower on their list. I'm not disappointed I watched it. I don't think this is a particularly good movie, but I'm not like friggin' Field made me watch this movie. But
I don't care if you will.
If somebody was to make me list a bunch of movies, I think this is going to be low on a lot of people's list on movies. And Sean Penn, you're going to list a lot of his newer stuff. You're going to list Mystic River and stuff like that. I Am Sam, Ed Harris. And maybe they weren't also as big as maybe they are now. But it's definitely a young Gary Oldman.
Well, that's the thing. This is a chance to see actors that you are told that have great history or great, cinematic filmography.
Sure.
And, but like, I'm trying to think of a Sean Penn film that people would have watched when he was younger. It's probably Colors, but he's Casualties of War. He's good. He's good in this. I mean, it's a good chance to see Robin Wright, a young Robin Wright, a young Sean Penn, a young Gary Oldman, actually see them, as they were when they're young actors. Strong. You could see the potential there. Ed Harris, even though he's a little older than them, is still, is a strong performance. I mean, these people are just, I think there's a lot of good people. Maybe the totality of the film doesn't, the kind of like the sum doesn't equal the parts mentality. Maybe that's a good way to say this film. But I think there's a lot of good stuff going on here that I don't think it's a bad film. Is it miss more than it hits? Probably. But I definitely think it's a film people should watch. I mean, it's 2 hours and 14 minutes, right?
Yeah, it's not incredibly long.
No, but I mean, there's scenes in here that I really enjoy. And I think if you like good, let's put it this way. If you really like acting, like strong acting or acted scenes, you get a lot of that in here. You do get a lot of scenes where there's 2 actors going at it from different viewpoints. It's not everyone's the same voice, that kind of thing.
Sure.
So, but
why do you think it's forgotten though?
Oh, obviously. Well, we already said Goodfellas. Probably because it's not as strong as the other films. It's not. I mean, it's a low budget film. It looks low budget. It looks dirty. Maybe people just don't. Maybe it came out the wrong time. When did we say it came out? It came out in September.
Yeah.
I mean,
it definitely came out.
See, a movie like
shouldn't have come out.
A movie like Goodfellas. And even Miller's Crossing, because those are both the same weeks. Those films are so good that it doesn't matter when they come out.
True. That's
how good they are. I think if like you talk about how films that just hit at the right time. They may not be great, but they just hit at the right time.
Right.
Like Ted Lasso. Ted Lasso is a good show, but Ted Lasso came at a time when people needed that.
Yeah.
But it's still a good show. But like, I think that this film is probably needed like almost maybe the perfect release date to kind of maybe do better than 1.9 million. I mean, Gary Oldman, Sean Penn, Ed Harris, Robin Wright, these are not named actors as they were now. I mean, Robin Wright's coming off of The Princess Bride. Do you think people really expect the girl in The Princess Bride to be naked and swearing and, having sex with Sean Penn in this film?
No.
I mean, no, not at all. So that's not what they're expecting, that expectation. Sean Penn has always had that reputation as being like, as you talked about, somebody who's just kind of like full of himself or serious actor or somebody who is very violent or just, so maybe people are turned off by that. Nobody knows who Gary Oldman is. Like, so I think that probably hurts it as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's probably forgotten in that aspect. But I said maybe like 5 minutes ago, I think people should go back and see it because it's got a lot of young, talented people that we all know and love now because they've been in so many things right now. So I think you get to see that potential, how they were.
Yeah. But I agree.
Yeah. So you didn't like it. I did like it. And that's why the show's ending. Where can they find us?
You can find us at ForgottenCinemaPodcast.com or ForgottenEntertainment.com, as we are part of the Forgotten Entertainment family. While you're there, check out all the other great podcasts and video content we have for you. You're gonna be losing us, so go check out the other guys. They're pretty great, guys and gals.
Guys, women.
Yes.
You want to say it again?
No. I said what I said. So check out all those other great human beings on Forgotten Entertainment.
The human fund.
You're listening to us right now. Go ahead and like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And yeah.
And join us next week as we are going to Mexico to talk about kidnapping with Denzel Washington, our favorite fan of the show. He's not a fan of the show. We're a fan of him.
That'd be awesome. I'm not ending the podcast if I know Denzel's watching.
We're talking about Man on Fire. That is next week, directed by Tony Scott, Denzel Washington, Dakota Fanning, and others. So until then, everyone, have a great week. I'm Mike Field.
I'm Mike Butler.
And this has been Forgotten Cinema.